Let's talk about project integration management, or in other words, how to turn that feeling of absolute project chaos into a story of success. You know that feeling, right? Where everything's disorganized, there's no clear direction, and you just get this sense that the whole thing is doomed to fail? Well, that feeling of chaos, it's a massive red flag. It's the difference between a bunch of talented musicians all playing at once and a full orchestra creating a symphony. But the good news is there's a discipline designed to prevent exactly that, a way to get all those moving parts, all those different teams working together in perfect harmony. And that is what project integration management is all about. It's the art of coordinating every part of a project to make sure you actually succeed. The best way to think about it is this. The project manager isn't playing the violin or the drums. Nope. They are the conductor, and their one job is to make sure every single instrument comes together to create something incredible. So where does it all start? Well, before that orchestra can play a single note, they have to pick the right piece of music. This is the first stage, the audition. Let's be real. Every organization has way more great ideas than they have time or money to pursue. You just can't do everything. So the first critical job is figuring out how to pick the winners. You have to have a system for it. One of the most powerful tools for this is called net present value, or NPV. Now, I know it sounds a little intimidating, but the core idea is really simple. $1 today is worth more than $1 a year from now. So NPV just answers the question, what is this project's future profit actually worth in today's money? And the rule of thumb is pretty straightforward. A positive NPV is a good sign. It means the project is expected to be profitable. So a number like this one, almost $8,500, that's a check mark in the yes column. But, and this is a big but, finances are only part of the story. Next up, you've got return on investment, or ROI. You've definitely heard of this one. It's much more direct. It's basically your bang for your buck, asking, how much benefit are we going to get for every dollar we invest? Naturally, the higher the ROI, the better. And finally, for the financial metrics, there's payback analysis. This one is all about speed. It answers that one question every executive loves: how quickly will this project pay for itself? A shorter payback period is often a lot more attractive because it means less risk. Here's the thing, though. A project could have a fantastic NPV and a great ROI and still be the wrong choice. Why? Because maybe it just doesn't align with the company's long-term strategy. That's why it can't just be about the money. This is where a tool like a weighted scoring model becomes so powerful. Take a look here. We're not just looking at profit. The most important factor, supports key business objectives, has the highest weight at 25%. And when you score everything out, Project 2 comes out as the clear winner. It proves that the best project is the one that best serves the overall mission. Another fantastic approach is the Balanced Scorecard. It forces you to look at a project from 4 different but equally critical angles. Yeah, will it make money? Of course. But also, will customers love it? Will it make us more efficient internally? And will it help our team learn and grow? This makes sure the projects we pick are healthy for the entire organization. Okay, so we've picked our project. The orchestra has its music. Now it's time to create the master plan. It's time to hand out the sheet music. And that sheet music really has 2 key parts. First, you've got the project charter. Think of this as the project's birth certificate. It answers the big what and why and formally gives the project the go-ahead. Then you get the project management plan. This is the detailed blueprint. It gets into the nitty-gritty of how everything is going to get done. And this is a perfect example of what a good charter objective looks like. It's from a real DNA sequencing project. It's crystal clear, specific, measurable, and time-bound. Everyone who reads this knows exactly what success looks like. There's no ambiguity. So, the plan is set. The orchestra starts to play. But as any good conductor knows, things rarely go exactly according to the sheet music. You have to manage the performance, and you have to be ready to improvise. You know, there's been a huge shift in how we think about this. The old school view was that change is bad. Any deviation from the plan was a failure. You had to stick to it at all costs. But the modern and frankly more realistic view is that change is inevitable, and sometimes it's even a good thing. So good project management doesn't try to prevent change, it plans for it. And you plan for it with a change control system. Now, this isn't about letting chaos take over, it's the exact opposite. It's a structured, formal process. Somebody requests a change.
The team evaluates the impact on scope, schedule, and budget. And then, a dedicated group, the Change Control Board, makes a final, informed decision. It's controlled adaptation.
Finally, after all the planning, the execution, and the clever adaptation, you guide the project to its grand finale. It's time to cross the finish line and get that standing ovation. So, if we recap the conductor's main actions, it looks like this. You develop the charter and the plan. You direct and manage the actual work. You constantly monitor and control how things are going. You perform that integrated change control we talked about, and then you formally close the project. That's the whole symphony. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that successful integration management is not a one-time thing. It's not set it and forget it. It is the active, continuous process of coordination that truly separates successful projects from the ones that fail. And that really brings us to the final question you should ask yourself. When you look at your project, is it a finely tuned orchestra creating something amazing, or is it just a lot of noise? The difference, as we now know, is integration.